Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host Daniel Short. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2014, and we will be talking about the college football rankings, which come out tomorrow night. Let's get a little in-depth preview of what we possibly can see, and hopefully my TCU Horned Frogs can jump up just a little bit. Also, what about the New England Patriots? Are they the best team in the NFL as they dominated who I believe was the best team in the NFL at the time, the Denver Broncos, at home in Foxborough, if I can speak. Are the Patriots the best team right now? And also, is this RG3's last year with the Washington Redskins? Conflicting reports going on right now. We will talk about that and much, much more. Real quick before we start the show off, I do want to say something that I believe is exciting. It should be exciting for you guys as well. The iPhone 6, I ordered it like last month, and it's ridiculous. I've had to wait this long for the phone. I'm going over to the iPhone. I loved it before. Then I went to Samsung. Yeah, okay, y'all don't care about that. Main point is, Spreaker has an app and that will let me for not kind of expensive, but not too expensive at the time, where I can create an app with my show, and it will, instead of having to listen directly to Spreaker or wherever else, you can just download the app on the Apple Play Store, the Apple Store, iTunes, whatever, and you can just listen straight from that app, basically. And I can also upload different things, something that could be shorter than just a regular show. It could be all types of different things I can do with it. So I'm thinking about doing that. Let me know if you guys rather have it on just the iOS, which is with Apple, of course, or the Android system with their Play Store. I haven't decided. I have both. My tablet is with Android, and then also with the phone is now with iOS. So I don't know which one I'm debating. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the show. We will talk about some college football news first, and that is Texas A&M announced Saturday that sophomore quarterback Kenny Hill has been suspended for 2 games for an unspecified violation of team rules and athletic department policies. Hill, who was the starter for Aggies' first 8 games of the season, was replaced by true freshman Kyle Allen as a starter in the Aggies' 21-16 win over Louisiana Monroe on Saturday. Head coach Kevin Sumlin said this, quote, "It's always disappointing whenever it's any player. What we try to do is hold players to certain standards in this program, and if you don't meet those standards, there are consequences. Unfortunately, this is one of those times." Now, a little bit of news, Kyle Allen. Now, we all we all know this. Found out about Kenny Hill being suspended before the game started, but the fact that we still don't know what exactly it was. It could have been he could have just gone, through the temper tantrum about not being the starter, because this wasn't the reason Kyle Allen started the game. It wasn't because of suspension. The coaches wanted to make it clear that Kyle Allen won the job because his practice, how he how he was doing in practice and other things like that. It wasn't because Kenny Hill was suspended. So that's to clear that up. Well, about Kyle Allen, he's of course a true freshman. He threw for 106 yards and a touchdown in his first career start on Saturday, but he also had 2 turnovers. But he will make the start on the road at Auburn next week, or this upcoming week, I should say, in a very interesting game. Tough environment. I am hoping that Texas A&M can get this victory. I just don't understand how you can go from a team that went 5-0, absolutely dominated. I don't care who the quarterback, because Kyle Allen did some impressive things last week. Now, I know they're playing Louisiana Monroe, but did some impressive things and showed a lot of poise in the pocket and whatnot. But how can you go from a team that's 5-0 and dominating everybody to just dropping 3 straight games and then coming back with a victory now? It blows my mind. I feel like Aggies are still very impressive team that can beat an Auburn team, even on the road. I think they could shock. Auburn's probably looking towards other games, saying, all right, we beat Ole Miss, A&M, they've been slacking off right now. They barely beat Monroe. We'll be all right. We can take them. You never know. This Aggie team can quickly turn into that team that dominated at South Carolina. And of course, Kyle Allen will be the starter this time, and Kenny Hill will not. Maybe this is Allen's game to break out. Might be, and I hope the Aggies win, of course, because TCU, we are around this. We just got moved up to number 6 in the AP poll, which is, obviously a completely different poll than the playoffs. But if we're around that range, hopefully a little bit higher, and Auburn loses, then we need Auburn to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and we'd be all right. We'll be okay, and we'll jump into the top 4 playoffs. But that is it for A&M. And also, Ole Miss wide receiver Laquan Treadwell is out for the season after breaking his left fibula and dislocating his ankle in the Rebels' 35-31 heartbreaking loss to Auburn on Saturday. Treadwell was injured trying to score the go-ahead touchdown in the final minutes of the game. The play was initially ruled a touchdown, but was overturned after replay showed that he fumbled the ball just short of the goal line, which then was recovered by Auburn. And there you go. Seals the deal. Auburn gets the victory. Ole Miss drops again. Ole Miss hit back down to earth. They 7-0 and then dropped past 2 games. Really thought Ole Miss was I was believing that Ole Miss was better than Mississippi State. And I think when it comes down to, which is the weirdest name in college football, of the Egg Bowl, once it comes down to that game, I do expect Ole Miss to win. Mainly because they know right now, playoffs, they need a lot of things to happen right now. They're in the SEC. A lot of these teams are going to have 2 losses because of important rivalries, with Auburn and Alabama going at it. Both of them already have 1 loss, so another team's about to have 2 losses. They'll drop out. Ole Miss still has to play Mississippi State, then, the SEC championship. It's all crazy right now. There's so many different scenarios that can happen to have a SEC champion and possible second SEC team in the playoffs. Ole Miss, I wouldn't completely rule them out. They would have to win out the entire season, and I believe they can beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State put up back-to-back really bad games. They win, but not impressive games. I believe it. Let's see, 17-10 win, wasn't it? Let me scroll down. Yeah, they barely beat Arkansas 17-10. If Arkansas had an actual good quarterback, Arkansas would have won that game. And then the week before that, Mississippi State barely gets by a pretty solid Kentucky team. It's starting to show after they don't have any good wins. I don't believe Mississippi State's a number 1 team. I really don't. They are a good team. They are a top 4 team, maybe top 5. I don't believe they're top number 1 team in the nation. Ole Miss, I believe when it comes down to that game, they will win, and we'll go from there. But Ole Miss, just breathe in there, just hang on a little bit more, and you'll be okay. One team that won't be okay with their starting middle linebackers, Notre Dame. Joe Schmidt will be out for the rest of the season because of a fractured and dislocated left ankle. Head coach Brian Kelly said Sunday. Schmidt suffered the injury during the third quarter of the Fighting Irish 49-39 win over Navy, and he will have surgery tomorrow. Schmidt leads Notre Dame in tackles with 65 and 2 interceptions, also 3 quarterback hurries and 2 forced fumbles. Schmidt has 1 year of eligibility left, and Kelly does expect him to return in 2015, which I think we all do. I mean, those are really good stats, of course, for this season, but are they NFL stats that have thrown your name out there for a first, second, possibly even third round? Probably not. Not just yet. I mean, Teo had to take some time. We've been hearing about him for his last 2 years. So I would just wait, of course, for that. Moving around, trying to check the scores. Okay. Also, the head coach, Brian Kelly, did say, quote, "I think everybody is going to have to pick it up a little bit. Jalen Smith is going to have to pick it up. I think the defensive line is going to have to be more assertive in making sure that they're taking care of their end of things. I think our safeties, I think everybody is going to have to pick up the slack for the loss of a guy that really did most of the work. Yeah, he's a big loss. I think our guys understand that it's the next man in, and let's get young guys ready to roll." So that's what head coach Brian Kelly did say. So true freshman Niles Morgan will replace Schmidt, or he did replace Schmidt late in Saturday's game, and also will start moving forward. Niles Morgan is was an ESPN 4-star prospect from the recruiting class of 2014. and the number 5 inside linebacker in the country. Kelly said he has not decided who will be the primary play caller for the defense throughout the rest of the year. But Niles Morgan, we did hear a lot about him recruiting. I follow it like crazy when it comes down to signing day and whatnot. And I think he can make a pretty solid impact. I didn't see what he did when he did come in for Schmidt because I didn't know about the injury at the time. But I believe Niles Morgan, I'm not saying he's going to do the exact things that Schmidt did on the field, but he should be able to make an impact. And for people trying to watch film on Notre Dame's defense, they're not going to know much of him other than that small little bit of game time, and then whatever time he did fill in whenever Notre Dame was blowing out other opponents. So we'll have to see about that. But Niles Morgan, I feel like, I don't know, something about that is just telling me to keep his name in mind. Something is telling me just let people know, Niles Morgan. But that's it for college football news. We'll go ahead and do a quick recap of Week 10 of college football. And the first game started off with Florida State taking on Louisville on the road. And Florida State somehow, it frustrates me because it's like they've had so many games they should have lost already. But maybe it's a sign. Maybe they're the team that can overcome adversity and overcome, big losses or, they can overcome, being down by a lot and then dominating their way back into the game and then ultimately winning the game. They did win it 42-31. Jameis Winston, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I don't know. It's like Florida State, you're bound to lose at some point. You just haven't. And it's so frustrating because I'm trying to get my TCU Frogs. I'm hoping they can get in there. And it's like every team, right when they're about to lose a team that's in front of us, boom, that team ends up coming back. And it's just, we're close. Speaking of TCU, they did come back and win after being down 13 points, 31-30. The game looked like it was over throughout the entire game. We give so much praise to our offensive coordinators and Doug Meacham and Sonny Cumbie, but it's like, why are we throwing go routes and fades when all we need is like 2 to 5 yards for a first down? I get we got fast guys, track runners, All-American, but I mean, come on, let's move the chains. Let's start running the clock. Yes, we can score after that. We could go for it on like second and whatever, 1st and 10 or something. But on a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5, you can't be going for big shots when all you need is 2 to 5 yards. Our team consistently does that. Boykin, you look at his passer rating, it was under 50%. That's not a quarterback that wins, and that's definitely not a Heisman type quarterback. So I'm going to stop talking about his Heisman stuff because that could just end up jinxing him really bad. So, but thankfully TCU did come back and get the victory, 31-30 final score. Frogs move on, and West Virginia's playoff shots are out of here, thankfully. Next game was Stanford at Oregon. I really thought Stanford could put up a more competitive game against Oregon. I know they had to travel to Eugene, but it's not like they haven't done it before, and it's not like they haven't beat them in any place. Final score, 45-16. Oregon gets the victory. ECU, East Carolina, was defeated by Temple, 20-10. Duke and Pittsburgh went at it for 2 extra overtimes, and Duke gets the victory, 51-48. Oklahoma dominates Iowa State, 59-14. And how about the Florida Gators coming back and winning 38-20? Not coming back, but shocking upset over Georgia, 38-20. I'm so glad that happened. Knocked Georgia out. It's awesome. And then plus, I like the Florida Gators. I always have. I've always been a fan of Florida. Not more than TCU, of course, but just as a third team that I like. I like, it's my team's TCU, Oregon, and Florida. I always like Florida. I like the history. I love the stadium. Tim Tebow, the good old days with Percy Harvin. Yeah, sorry, reminiscing. But anyways, Florida gets the victory, 38-20. I still think they should fire Muschamp. He's got to get out of there. They still suck with him. They just happen to beat them because they have really talented running backs. Nebraska defeats Purdue 35-14. Baylor puts up 60 points against Kansas, 60-14. We talked about Auburn, Mississippi, and Ole Miss. Mississippi State, of course, barely beats Arkansas. Arkansas is another team I do like. I just wish they had a quarterback. They have a strong running game still, even though it's died off since the beginning of the year, but it's still there. They can still run the ball effectively. They just need a quarterback. And imagine what the running game would have been like if they had a real solid quarterback. I mean, he just has to be above average. This guy is just, if his good game, if his great game is, that's just average for him. So, moving on. Navy, they almost beat Ohio State in the beginning of the year. They almost beat Notre Dame. Couldn't get it done. 39-49, Notre Dame wins. Everett Golston, how about 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns? That's Heisman. That's Heisman talk. I know against Navy, but that's still Heisman talk right there. Ohio State defeated Illinois 55-14. K-State improves to be the only undefeated team in the Big 12 right now. 48-14 over Oklahoma State. And let's see, last 2 games. Arizona gets defeated by UCLA. Who saw that coming? That's awesome, though. Again, I'm all thinking awesome because it's TCU. Arizona, who was 12, but they only had 1 loss on the schedule. They did defeat some pretty good teams, so I was thinking they could, at some point probably move up there if they wanted to put them above us. Thankfully, they didn't. UCLA gets the victory, and I like UCLA as well. 17-7. Utah and Arizona State went at it, with Arizona State getting the W, 17-14. And let's go ahead and move on to the NFL, which there is a lot of news to talk about and some good topics, to hear back from you guys, what you guys think. First, the Houston Texans running back Arian Foster left Sunday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles midway through the third quarter after suffering a groin injury. Pending MRI will offer more details how significant Foster's injury is. The Texans are thankfully off next week before returning to play against the Cleveland Browns on November 16th. So, again, it's another groin injury for Foster, basically another injury for Arian Foster, who missed, I believe, or only played 8 games last season. And not saying he's going to miss a tremendous amount of time. It's a good thing that the bye week came for the Texans, as Arian Foster, I had no idea. He's the AFC's leading rusher right now. Not good. We don't have a running back in the AFC better than Arian Foster. Head coach Bill O'Brien said this, quote, "We'll see how that is, but obviously the bye week is coming at a good time for things like that. Hopefully we'll be able to get him some rest, and he's had a heck of a year, and we certainly need him down the stretch." And of course, all the players, saying, "Hey, we got a young but pretty solid running back in Alfred Blue who will take over." But Arian Foster being able to catch out of the backfield and make things happen after some contact is a guy who they need, because at quarterback right now, Fitzpatrick, no, you need all the help you can possibly get. Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson, or I should just say just running back Adrian Peterson, and his representatives have been in talks to reach a plea agreement in his child abuse case in Texas here that could be done as early as Tuesday. If Peterson were able to reach a plea agreement, then the immediate question would become whether he would be allowed to return back to the NFL. And Roger Goodell has shown no willingness to return or to allow Peterson to be removed off his exempt list to come back to the NFL. I don't know. Whoa, breaking news. Hold up. All right, we'll save that. Actually, we'll come back to the Minnesota Vikings, but we are going to talk about some breaking news that just came in at this moment. Okay, focus back to the Vikings. So, yeah, excuse me. The Vikings, I don't think we're going to see Adrian Peterson. Let's make a long story short. I don't think we're going to see Adrian Peterson. I know this has been talked about by everybody. There's just no way he's coming back. And if he does, it's not even going to be noticeable. I think he comes in for no, he doesn't. I don't even know what I'm saying. He's not going to come back. This season is just out. We are at week 9 right now. Week more than halfway through. So I can't see him coming back. And for anything, I think Roger Goodell is going to say, hey, this is what you did. And we need to make a statement to everybody because of just off the field trouble that's been crazy in the NFL. you're Adrian Peterson. You are, well, at least, before this offseason, you were the best running back in the NFL. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to have you out for the entire year, no matter that all of this may or may not be over for you. You're out. This is a strong statement. Strong words. I would agree with Roger Goodell for doing that, just based on what Peterson has done. But real quick, let's go to the, excuse me. Let's go to the breaking news. Now, I'm going to have to read this off my tablet. I'm going to have to skim to make sure everything I'm reading is cool. But San Francisco 49ers running back Marcus Lattimore is planning on retiring from the NFL due to knee injuries. He was not with the team during Sunday's home game against the St. Louis Rams. Jim Harbaugh said, quote, "Did not see Marcus. I'm sure we'll have an announcement about that." And that's about it. We all know that Marcus Lattimore was a star running back at South Carolina and then suffered a torn ACL and MCL. And then that was in 2011. And in 2012 was that, of course, we all remember that game. Suffered another ACL tear in his right knee. Who did he play? Was it South Carolina? No, he's at South Carolina. Who did he play? Oh, man. I can't remember, but we all remember the hit. His leg just looked ugly. How it just, I don't even, it was just disturbing. But that is sad. I thought, they did draft him, but a 4th round draft pick, even though he was going to be out for that upcoming season, and thought he would be okay to go, but apparently not. Wow. Let's see. I'm just going to real quick skim through this. Nothing much else on it. Other than that's it. So that sucks. Like Marcus Lattimore, I was actually thinking about him yesterday, thinking that he could, even though I forgot that the trade deadline had just ended last week. I was like, it would be cool if he could get traded somewhere else, to, maybe the Chargers, because we need about everything right now. Thinking about some help there, but that's not going to happen now as he's retired. That sucks. All right, moving on. Multiple members of the Washington Redskins organization told ESPN's NFL insider Adam Schefter this week that they believe that the decision to go back to quarterback Robert Griffin III and away from Colt McCoy, who had led them to two straight wins, is an owner and general manager driven decision. Redskins executive Tony Willey strongly denied that, telling ESPN that it was, quote, Coach Jay Gruden's decision. The owner has nothing to do with it. And then scratch that. I don't understand the scratch that part, but whatever. After the Redskins' 29-26 loss to the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday, head coach Jay Gruden echoed Willie's statement, calling the report totally false. Griffin made his first appearance since week 2 and went 18 of 28, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So not the prettiest, but, if you had a defense, you probably could have got this job done. Vikings don't really have the most talented offense right now. They have some pretty young running backs, and obviously the rookie quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. But, you could have easily won this game if your defense had actually been at the game. But there is some other not off the field, more in the locker room type problems. Griffin's support with the players, however, is not as strong as it is with the high levels of organization, according to sources. A source familiar with the incident told ESPN's Brent McHenry that Griffin has alienated himself from the locker room. When Griffin began addressing the media in the locker room on Friday for the first time since dislocating his left ankle in week 2, about 15 teammates began shouting. Apparently, it was so loud and distracting, the franchise quarterback and reporters had to leave the locker room so Griffin could speak someplace where he could be heard. And that's when the cheering got even more louder. So I don't know. To me, I don't know how to put this. I don't know exactly what's going on. We all don't really know what's going on with Robert Griffin and the Redskins. Now, even though Colt McCoy is not my favorite quarterback, if I don't think it's anybody's favorite quarterback right now. But yeah, Colt McCoy probably should have still been the starter. And if he had struggled, then you throw RG3 in there. That would have been the most. That's the best way you could have done it. Because, yes, Robert Griffin is eligible, ready to go. I would still have made him a game time decision literally waited until the Redskins offense got out there on the field, then that's when you know, okay, so let's see who's starting. Oh, bam. Okay. It's Robert Griffin. Throw the defense off. I know they didn't say until actually an hour or so before the game, but that's the way I would have done it. Also, still start Colt McCoy. He's the one that's led your team to 2 straight victories. He's kind of on a hot streak right now. Let him play. Again, if he throws an interception or he just makes some bad throws, he's off with the receivers at some point, then yes, go ahead and get RG3 in there because he's ready to go. Because right now you've made more controversy with the media, the locker room, which is the worst thing you want to do is make, difference of opinions in the locker room like crazy right now. It's just ridiculous. Now, if Griffin has, alienated himself and just, separated himself from the players, his teammates and the locker room, now you've got a really bad, very bad, atmosphere with your team right now. So that's why I'm saying, and I'm throwing the question out there for you guys, is this the last season we see RG3 in a Redskins uniform? Now, it's kind of hard to say that when you have upper management that really wants him to play, that I guess apparently might have forced the Redskins to start RG3 over Colt McCoy. If that that does become true, then you think, how is he going to get traded or released at the end? I should say released at the end of the year. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen. I think if Jay Gruden really wants him out, you can do that. But I don't know. I think right now it's too late to call it's too early to call RG3 a bust. He's had multiple injuries. I understand that, and he's had a sophomore slump last year. I just think let's just hold on a little bit. Let's hold on a little bit longer before we call him a bust. And, have him a fresh start somewhere else. Some other team. Right now, Tampa Bay probably is Tampa Bay is the only team I think would need a quarterback. Maybe Houston. How about, would have been really crazy? It won't happen because, the rivals in the same division. But what if somehow the Cowboys could have got RG3, put him back in Texas and whatnot, and the Dallas, Waco's not that far from Dallas, so put him right next to there. Boom, probably play like a star, like on his helmet. But anyways, Tampa Bay, New York Jets. I don't know. I'm sure there's other teams, but yeah, that's my whole thing. What do you guys think? Is this RG3's last year? Is it coming down? Should he just find his way out? He's going to get endorsements anyway, so he could take a pay cut if needed to. But let me know what you guys think. Also, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Nick Foles will be out indefinitely with a broken collarbone while no timetable was given. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers missed 11 games last season with the same injury, so expect the same thing. And guess what? There's 5 games left or 6 games? What are we? There's 7 games. So he can miss the entire regular season. Yep. Oh, yeah. Could miss the entire season, Nick Foles. But, hey, you're okay. You got Mark Sanchez, who came in and completed 15 of 22 passes for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 2 interceptions, but led the team to a 31 to 21 victory. Chip Kelly said this, quote, "I think Mark did a really good job. That one interception, I think, hit the wide receiver Josh Huff in the hands and was tipped. The other one, I think Cooper got spun around. Besides that, he had a really good command of what we're doing. Since day one, you know what type of professional Sanchez is. We were fortunate when Nick did go down that we were able to bring in Mark. I don't think we missed a beat. So, not bad. I think Mark Sanchez did a pretty good job going in. I think we saw him. He was 6 of 6, and then his first touchdown pass. I think you're gonna be okay. I think Mark Sanchez somehow has found this system to be very effective, or maybe it was just a brand new start. He just had to get out of New York, and I think it was good. I mean, the preseason he was excellent, and I think now coming in, and he's gonna have to play for that. At least another 5 weeks. If somehow Nick Foles is collarbone isn't that much broken. I don't know how to really put it, but I believe Mark Sanchez, he's going to have to play the next 5 games at the very minimum. And, I don't think the Eagles are completely out of the playoff hunt just yet. It is a 6-2 record right now. I mean, we see if anything can happen. My Chargers were 5-1, and we're now 5-4. We lost to the Dolphins 37. Oh, okay, I'll talk about that later. That was that's embarrassing. Anyways, Broncos linebacker Nate Irving suffered ligament damage last night versus the Patriots. Irving left the stadium on crutches and needed assistance getting dressed for the flight back to Denver, where Irving will have an MRI. Nate Irving did say this, quote, "I don't remember how it happened. Not a good break, not a good day." So that would be a huge loss for the Broncos defense if Nate Irving is out for an extended amount of time. I know one of the guys from Denver Post did say it was bad. It was very bad. So that's not good for Broncos, especially after getting torched by the Patriots like they did. Could be a playoff rematch some point down in the playoffs. The New York Jets will stick with Michael Vick at quarterback. He completed 21 of 28 passes for 196 yards and a touchdown. Rex Ryan did say, quote, "I thought he played well, so we'll give him another shot against Pittsburgh as long as he's healthy." Good thing. I mean, he was, damn near perfect. 21 of 28. But not the prettiest of stats afterwards. Only 196 yards. I guess, Kansas City Chiefs, their defense has improved. You didn't get the victory, which is, the most important thing, and a touchdown, but he didn't have a turnover. So that's not bad. But Geno Smith, they said he was injured. I don't know if they just told him, hey, just don't dress up right now, so we just have Mike Vick going out there. But if Mike Vick can complete passes just like that and have his receivers, catch the ball and then turn up the field a little bit more, might be looking at more scores for the Jets and for Michael Vick, which there would result in a possibly another victory at a 1-8 record right now. Would do some help. What about this? This was, I believe, probably the dumbest thing to say and do by Jerry Jones. Get ready for this if you haven't heard it yet. Jerry Jones expects quarterback Tony Romo to play next week, saying, quote, "I do see him playing." This is what he told Desmond Pernell of NFL Networks, and then going on saying, he's going on the trip to London, and logic tells you that we wouldn't have made him make the trip to London and back if we didn't think he was going to play. So it does depend on the type of week he has at practice, but if he has a week we expect, he should be our quarterback. I'm going to let that just sit a little bit. Just let that sit in your head and just think about what Jerry Jones has said. Tony Romo misses, sits out the game against the Arizona Cardinals, and we see Brandon Weeden just not there, not fully there. This is probably the dumbest thing Jerry Jones can do right now, and if Jason Garrett goes and does this and allows this to happen, it'd be even dumber. Now, Jacksonville, no disrespect to you. I mean, you obviously have a running game now, and Blake Bortles, he can be there every now and then. But I think this is the perfect game to have Romo sit out and not even make the trip to London, not even go. Continue to rehab your back, continue to rest, and make sure you can go 100%. Because check this out. Looking at the Dallas Cowboys schedule, you would have the Cowboys, have I'm not going to say easy game, but, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's just say that. You have that game in London. You have Tony Romo sit out. Then the next week, you have a bye week. You are off. That's another extra week for Tony Romo to sit out and relax. Then after that, you're on the road on Sunday night against the New York Giants. Huge game due to the fact, not because it's on a Sunday night, but because it's a division rival, and who knows how the Giants are going to be come 3 weeks from now. You have to play the Giants. Then you have a shorter week because you play that Thanksgiving home against the Philadelphia Eagles, who know what type of Eagles team you're going to be facing. But they could be the same team, if not better, with Mark Sanchez being in there. We don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Give hope alive for Mark Sanchez. He could have a breakout year. I'm just saying. But either way, you have a shorter week, so that doesn't help Tony Romo at all. So if you throw him in this game and he just happens to take a shot that he could not withstand, then not only have you screwed yourself for that game and hurting himself to rest even more for that, that bye week coming up, but you can kill your team's season throughout the rest of the week, throughout the rest of the year, because it doesn't get any easier. You're at Chicago. Yes, they don't have the best record, but it's a tough place to play. In the cold for Tony Romo's back, not going to help. And, pretty solid defense every now and then. Then you're at the road against Philadelphia again. Home against Indianapolis, who we've seen to be a pretty solid team. And in your last game at Washington. This is, to me, the most common sense thing to do is to sit out and not even have Romo make the trip to London and deal with all of that. Sit him out and be ready to go, in 3 weeks. Again, November 23rd. That's enough time for Tony Romo not only to heal and rest up and get back in the rhythm of things. Also, let Brandon Whedon, don't even let Romo practice this week. Let Brandon Whedon take all those snaps, because you're going to also have a shorter week because you got to fly to London probably a day or two before the actual game to get your players ready, for all that time stuff and whatnot. Let him take every single snap and opportunity in practice to be with the first stringers, because we all saw that game, or, if you did see that game, you could clearly see he was not in rhythm with his teammates, which you don't expect him to be. 1 week of practice, you don't really expect him to be 100% in timing with Dez Bryant and whatnot. But this is, I don't know. I'm sorry. I ranted on too long about this, but I believe that is the most common sense thing to do, is have Tony Romo just sit out, enjoy these 2 weeks off, to heal, rehab, and to do everything he can so that come November 23rd on the road in New York, Sunday night game, he's 100% good to go and ready to finish off this year strong and not finish 8-8 or worse. So that's it for my little rant. We'll go ahead and go with the NFL Week 9 recap. First, let's see. We had a Thursday night game with the New Orleans Saints defeating the Carolina Panthers 28-10. Cleveland Browns move up. I really thought, I tweeted out there, and follow me on Twitter at @short_sports247. I thought the Cleveland Browns would put in Johnny Football. Brian Hoyer wasn't doing so well, and I was like, Brian Hoyer, just throw 2 interceptions and have, be losing to Tampa Bay. We're going to see Johnny Football. I believed so hard that this was the game for Johnny Football to come in and shock the world. It did not happen, and the Cleveland Browns did find a way to win 22-17. Come on, Johnny Football. I'm going to need you to do something. I need you to get back out there. The Arizona Cardinals defeated the Dallas Cowboys 28-17. We just talked about that. Philadelphia Eagles, talked about that game, 31-21 against Houston. The Jets lose to Kansas City 24-10. Jacksonville, I'm glad Denard Robinson has found his niche in the NFL as a running back. Didn't think that was going to happen. I thought he was going to be one of those great college players that just couldn't find really a spot in the NFL. He has awesome running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Keep 16, though. Keep 16. I know that's not a normal running back number, but sometimes he plays wide receiver. That's okay. And he can even throw in there if Blake Bortles gets hurt and you go down with all your quarterbacks. Guess who played quarterback at Michigan and did pretty well at it? Denard Robinson. But they lose to the Cincinnati Bengals 33-23. We talked about Minnesota 29-26 over Washington. How about the St. Louis Rams? Awesome job against the San Francisco 49ers 13-10. Seattle barely squeaks by against the Oakland Raiders 30-24. It seems like Oakland's getting so close to their first victory, and I guarantee you it's going to be against my Chargers. I just know it. They almost beat us a few weeks ago. They're going to beat us. I mean, they play the Denver Broncos next week. You know they're not going to beat them. Then the next week, guess what? They play the Chargers. We suck. So, yeah, they'll beat us probably. Ben Roethlisberger, 12 touchdowns in 2 weeks, but, that's none of my business. 43-23 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, the New England Patriots, Tom Brady. I should have just been a Patriots fan from the beginning. The Patriots used to always beat the Chargers, and they always played, against each other. That was just a sign, God just telling me, hey, just be a Patriots fan because, that's what's going to happen. But I'll stick with the Chargers. It's embarrassing. 43-21 over the Denver Broncos. Patriots get the victory. And then tonight we have the Indianapolis Colts on the road in New York. Play the Giants. 7:30 Central Time on ESPN. I'm going for the Colts here. Hope to get the victory. I guess I could spend just a quick few minutes. We're already, at 40 minutes on our show. The Miami Dolphins, they are a really good team. Ryan Tannehill picking you up on my fantasy team, buddy. You're doing awesome. Also, for any fantasy people out there, start any quarterback that plays against the Chargers. I guarantee you'll win. You'll win. I told you guys last week. I said that I could see the Chargers ending up 5-11. I said it. And I just noticed I'm kind of sitting like Skip Bayless. That was gross. Having my hands all crossed. And okay. Anyways, I said it. There's something about this Chargers team. I read it like a book. I know what's about to happen. And Jason Verrett being out doesn't help. He's an awesome cornerback, and I'm so glad the Chargers have him. We just need more cornerbacks. We need more DBs out there. We need better guys. Farini is able to hurry the quarterback, but he can't finish. Can't get a sack. None of our guys. When we do actually get pressure, we can't sack the quarterback, and they can be a non-mobile quarterback. And like Blake Bortles, I don't even think we sacked him. We might have like once or twice, but we could have had probably like 6 more. Our defense is weak. We can't tackle, can't coverage, and it's just. And when we do coverage, then whenever someone does get the ball, we can't finish the sack or we can't tackle. It's always one or the other or both at the same time. It's just that offensively, I don't know what happened. I know the Dolphins aren't that great at defense, but yeah, there's no excuse for our offense not to score any points. Now, I kind of like the in the beginning of the game we had a 4th and 1. I like that we went for it. I think that's pretty aggressive, and I felt confident. I was thinking in my head, hey, we can get this, and then we did it. But obviously, it didn't even. Now looking to score, it wouldn't have made one bit of difference. I don't believe momentum because we went in that. I don't think momentum said, okay, hey, all right, just because you didn't kick that field goal, you're gonna lose 37-0. No, I don't think it was that. But probably need to draft another wide receiver. We need a running back. Donald Brown, I told you guys, waste of money. He could not catch a ball, and I'm not even gonna give him the excuse that he was out, so he didn't have playing. He wasn't in rhythm. No, that's full of crap. If you can't catch a ball that's lofted to you twice, that could have extended drives. Then you just roll over like a stupid. I'm sorry. Okay. Either way, that was a waste of the money. Chargers. I don't even want to look at their schedule, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna do it. The show's basically over with. So if you don't want to hear me rant about the Chargers anymore, you can. I give you. You can leave. There we go. We got a bye week this week. Then next week we play the Oakland Raiders. And then we have the St. Louis Rams. Both of those games at home, but honestly, it doesn't make a difference. Then we're at Baltimore, which I don't see how that's not a Sunday night game. I feel like that could have been a really good game, but either way, we're at Baltimore. Then we have New England at home on Sunday night, which is awesome that we have them at home. Still, if Brady can shred the Broncos defense like he did last night, I guarantee you he's going to shred our defense for like 600 yards. Then we have Denver right after that. How amazing at home. And then we're at San Francisco and at Kansas City at the end of the year. I'm telling you guys, 5-11. I'm sad. It pains me to say it. I know it doesn't sound like it pains me to say that, but it really does. It's ridiculous. I guess that is it, guys. That's it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like and share, whether you're listening to iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, whatever it may be, Spreaker.com. Thank you guys so much for the support and all that great stuff. Follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Download today's podcast and others on iTunes. If you have that, go ahead and do it. And on Facebook, go ahead and become a fan on Facebook. Type in the Short Sports Show. I am there. Hit that like button. And on YouTube, subscribe while you are there. All the links are in the description. So no worries. I don't have to go search it up and feel all crazy about it. But thank you guys so much for the support. And thank you for listening. I will see you guys next Monday morning. We will recap everything that happens. And hopefully some better news for the Chargers or something. I don't know. Sign Champ Bailey. We need something. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.